I was so happy again when I was pregnant in 2009 with Kai. I did a lot of Bible study while I was pregnant with him, and I was desperate by this point to give up smoking. I'd been like trying for 2 years constantly to stop smoking, but I still hadn't done it, and I just spent a lot of time feeling guilty that I was still smoking even though I wasn't smoking very much. I was doing a lot of Bible study and I was thinking, oh, you know, I'm just not good enough really, like, because I've got, like, I'm carrying my baby, what am I doing? But I was so flipping addicted, I kept trying to stop every day. Anyway, then I went overdue again, and I started to go, I went 3 weeks instead of 2 weeks overdue. I went into the 3rd week. It starts getting really heavy then, in terms of like, oh, well, if your baby just dies, you know, that's your choice. But at the same time, I was thinking the options are, if I go and get induced, if you look, like, do research, then quite a lot of things can go wrong. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I've done it, like, I've had a few by now, 3 by now. I know what I'm doing. And I thought to myself, as long as I get, like, monitored every day, make sure the baby's fine, because somebody told me that in France they let you go 3 weeks overdue anyway, as a matter of fact. So that was sort of it for me. I thought, well, flipping, they're not that far away over the channel. You know, why is there so much pressure? People trying to guilt trip me, think do you know what I mean? Something bad's going to happen. Because the longer you go on overdue, you risk having like a stillbirth. But everything was fine with me, and everything seemed to be fine with the baby. But I did start getting a little bit desperate towards the end. You can imagine the 3rd week I'm thinking, holy moly, well, you know, I really don't want to be induced. I really want to do this naturally. So I thought about the times when I've gone into labour, and the fact I'd had a really nice meal. So I said to Lee, let's go and get some nice fish and chips from Castle Perry, which was about a 15-minute drive. I thought, we'll go back road, so we'll go over some bumps, and that'll help as well. They say bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. So, because you get loads of advice from the old ladies how to sort of get into labour. One of the main ones being having sex, actually. So that's not too, but maybe there's a reason why I kept going over to. I don't know. So anyway, so we've gone to get the chips, and then the car broke down, and so we're out in the middle of nowhere in the back roads. We tried to go the bumpy way on the way to get the chips. So Lee had to go and like get some help, and I was like, I thought, okay then, God, get into labour, girl, come on, get into labour. Went walking round and round this field, marching around this bumpy field, thinking this will help, this will help, this will help. And I started singing to my baby. I didn't know if it was a boy or girl, by the way. I didn't find out with any of them. Excuse me. Saying like, singing something along the lines of, you know, come on baby, it's safe to come out. It's gonna be alright, you know. Don't put up a fight. Just come on out, it's fine. Da, 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 da. Walking around the fields, thinking, get back to nature, da 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 da. Anyway, Lee got some help, got the car fixed, got home. I don't think we bothered with the chips in the end. So I was like, okay, got to do something. My friend had said something about castor oil, but at the time I thought she'd said cod liver oil. So I like took a cod liver oil tablet, but funnily enough, half an hour later, I was in labour. So called the midwives out and everything, but because I'd taken this tablet, to be honest, looking back in hindsight, it was probably a mistake, and I probably could have just gone to sleep that night, had breakfast in the morning, big meal or something, probably would have gone into labour anyway, but I was starting to panic a little bit. Thinking like, because I think I was coming up to the deadline for 3 weeks as well, I was thinking, I can't go on anymore. I mean, once you're over 3 weeks overdue, do you know what I mean? You're waiting for it at 9 months, like on the date, and then it doesn't come, and people start saying, when are you having a baby then? Any day now. And then you're saying any day now for like 3 weeks. And then everyone starts gossiping about like, is she da. So the pressure was like massive. So anyway, it's only called liver oil tablet. But I think the problem was I was so tired, and my body wasn't really ready to go into labour. So I kind of forced it with this little tablet, and then the midwife came round. But it was like slow progression in the labour. He wasn't really doing very much, coming down or anything. I think I was dilating, but he wasn't dropping down or something. But they didn't really tell me too much, actually. And I was pretty tired, and then it got quite late. And I sort of said, can I go to sleep? I said, I just feel really tired. I think that really if I have a few hours sleep, you know, the contractions will come back on again. But by this point in time, they couldn't do that because they'd broken my waters when it started taking a long time. But it wasn't actually a long time. This is the other thing about it that was frustrating, because some labours can go on for 24 hours or 2 days, you know. And basically I'd only been in labour for about 6 hours, and then the midwife's like, well, I'm going home tonight. Do you know what I mean? Pop my waters. And once they pop your waters, you have to basically get the baby out, because otherwise it's dangerous for the baby, sort of thing. They can't be in there without any waters because they might get an infection or something. So even though I was tired, they couldn't really do that. But I didn't like, obviously, get into an argument about anything. I was like, I could see what was happening in front of me. I'd never had my waters broken before, because my waters had always burst just before the baby was born. Like literally as I push, it just go, they all come out. And that's what normally happens. So then I was quite tired. He wasn't sort of descending or something. They kept saying, can you put your legs in a position like you're going to the toilet? So I kept trying to do that. And I kept saying, well, can't I just go and sit on the toilet? You know, because then they'll be in the right position. And they kept, and because there was 2 midwives, but it wasn't a student midwife with the other midwife this time. It was like a more senior person was called, I think. Probably because the waters had been broken and the baby had to come. And then it got really, really annoying, because I was really exhausted. I was trying to stay awake, and they kept, sorry to say, but they kept gossiping. Like they just kept just chatting away about absolute nonsense, 10 to the dozen. And I'm like thinking, this is a really serious situation. You know, I'm in a lot of pain here. The last thing I want to listen to is you like waffling away about whatever. You know, it was really doing my head in. And then they like called an ambulance to wait outside. And I'd been studying with Jehovah's Witnesses. That's who I studied the Bible with. And I started thinking, they're doing this on purpose. It like sounds a bit paranoid, maybe. I don't know. Something funny's going on. They want me in hospital. Like obviously they're doing the best they can, but I started feeling uncomfortable. Basically, the whole situation. And my husband was fanning me like mad with a pizza box, and I could see he was getting worried as well. And obviously they'd called an ambulance. Anyway. It went on like this for some time, and it got a bit scary, and I was like getting into a weird sort of state where I was like not like a different conscious state. I wasn't unconscious, but I could feel myself like just going like not completely there, like things are going on around me and it's all a bit of a blur, and it was scary. Actually, it was really, really scary. And then and the worst thing about it, when I could see my husband getting scared, and I thought, oh no, this is it, mate. I thought I was going to die. I really thought, like, I'm going to die. I just had that instinctive feeling that I'm going to die. And then they just completely pulled it from nowhere, the midwives, like completely pulled it from nowhere, in the sense that they like suddenly just made a decision. She's not going into hospital. Right? She's not going into hospital, come and sit on the toilet. That's what I've been saying for ages, to put her on the toilet. So anyway, because I remembered from Faye, obviously, that sitting on the toilet, like that, anyway, I don't know, but there is something apparently about sitting in that position, basically, because they'd already, I don't know if they were supposed to do it or not. That's why they kept saying, no, don't do it. But I think they knew that if I'd gone to hospital, it could have got a lot worse. Do you know what I mean? So it was like last sort of attempt to get him to come descend. Anyway, so I sat on the toilet. Oh my word. I'm not joking, like the pain that minute, I don't know if I actually did damage to my body or something, because there was no waters to like protect the fall of his head onto my pelvis. I think I actually did do damage to my pelvis. It just went like bang, like that. I never felt anything like it in my life. And then just like hobbled into the bedroom, and literally he came out like a cannonball. So my husband described, just like a cannonball, not two punches, it was just one. It was just like, screamed my head off. I was on this little estate in the village where I grew up. Just moved a village about a mile away into a sort of housing association house. I thought, well, everyone's flipping gonna know he's born now. And he just came out in one great big push. He was the biggest of the lot. It's like, I think, £9 or something, £9. And the thing was, because he was 3 weeks overdue, he was like wide awake. Do you know what I mean? He was just like really just totally switched on. And oh my goodness, he's cute. It's just so cute. Like, no offense to Ellis, like I love them both the same, but it's just different, you know, different experiences. And yeah, again, it was just like complete rapture after that. Because I was gone from being like thinking I was going to die, you know, potentially I don't actually remember ever thinking that Kai was going to die, that my baby was going to die, but I felt convinced at one point, like really scared that I was going to die. Yeah, Kai was born and he was so wide awake, and Bonnie, yeah, that was just complete joy. Little Kai, a big boy who's tiny now. His full name's Kai Benjamin Kevin. So